yesterday.
I'm looking for this right now,
but I don't really care anymore. So with that being said, the Cincinnati Bengals are the next team on our record. They went 4-11-1 last season. Joe Burrow obviously had that torn ACL, and that's a pretty gnarly scar. If you guys have not seen it, it is definitely very, very gnarly there.
That's for sure.
So they needed offensive line help and possibly some receiver help too, since they lost AJ Green in the offseason. So, Tori, who was their best draft pick in the 2021 draft?
As much as I hate to say it, because we all thought they should have went with Sewell with their first round pick.
They should have.
They should have. But a consolation prize of Jamar Chase is not bad at all.
That's true.
So I got to go with Jamar Chase. Like you said, they lost AJ Green, so they've still got Tyler Boyd. They also did lose John Ross. I believe John Ross signed with the Bills in the offseason. So there was a need there for the number 2 receiver, and I think Jamar Chase, even though he sat out the 2020 year, is probably going to be the guy to step right in and be able to fill that role. He's got the comfortability level already with Joe Burrow, because the last time he was on a football field, Joe Burrow was the quarterback throwing him the ball. So there's going to be chemistry already there for them between those two. So I think it's just a natural fit for them, for Burrow. And there again, it might be like we talked about with Trevor Lawrence. It might be a comfortability thing too for Joe Burrow to get him settled in.
Why? Who was your best pick?
Yes. He is a great wide receiver talent. Absolutely. But arguably, if not arguably, probably the best wide receiver talent in this draft. And yes, he adds to chemistry to the quarterback of Joe Burrow. Of course, they played together in college. I know all of that. But at the end of the day, if your quarterback is sporting a scar that is like, have you all seen that thing? It's like 8 inches long. It covers his entire knee and like half of his shin. Like, come on. It's terrible. Protect your quarterback. Penei Sewell is the right pick right there. Jamar Chase is not the right pick. As great of a receiver as Jamar Chase is, yes, I do agree. I saw in the comments, they're going to have a top wide receiver core in the NFL. Absolutely, he's an incredible talent. 110%. I agree solely. But that is not the right pick. You've got to protect your quarterback first and foremost. That is 1A. Joe Burrow, I'm sure, was extremely happy to go link up with his wide receiver. I'm sure he was. But at the end of the day, when he's laying on his back looking up at the sky because he doesn't have any protection, he's going to be like, well, I couldn't get the ball to Jamar Chase right there. Do you know why? Because Penei Sewell could have been selected right there. That is why he's going to be laying on his back. So with that being said, the best pick that the Bengals have was Joseph Ossai, defensive end out of Texas. And might I add, they got a first-round defensive end in the 3rd round. Wow. The 3rd round, this guy fell all the way down. This is a guy who had all of this draft hype coming in, was projected to be a first, at the worst, early 2nd round pick, and just tanked. I mean, I don't know what happened on draft day, but the guy fell all the way to day 2 at the very end of day 2 in round 3, and God, did they get themselves a steal right there. Joseph Ossai adds that defensive end crew. This really does replace Dunlap ever since they lost him. This is a really nice pickup for them. I was very excited for them that they had brought him in after Joe Burrow got the happy but eventually sad news that they drafted a wide receiver and not some protection for him. So, once again, great wide receiver, but wrong pick. Wrong pick. You got to protect your QB.
So let me tell you what the Bengals told us by drafting a receiver when they should have drafted an offensive line here. And I see a chat here. Blake Johnson says that Joe Burrow had the 14th most time in the NFL to throw the ball last season.
That man was getting clipped left and right. He was getting destroyed. I mean, destroyed out there. He literally got hurt on a play where he got sacked. It was not a non-contact play. It was not a play where he took off and ran with it. It was a play where there was, 3 or 4 defensive linemen that sacked him near his own goal line because they busted through his offensive line and threw him to the ground. I thought they killed the guy. I really did. I was like, wow, okay, Joe Burrow's just dead now. I get it. There might be some crazy stat out there, sure, that he had the 14th most time to throw. That's great. But at the end of the day, it shows me when he's laying on the ground staring at the sky with a torn ACL and a blown out knee, that tells me right there that I don't care how much time he has to throw. It's clearly not enough, and he needs some more offensive line protection.
So before Wyatt went off that little rant when I was trying to get my 2 cents here, Wyatt, you're getting really good at that, and I like it. We're going to keep encouraging you to definitely do that. But this is what the Cincinnati Bengals said by drafting a receiver, guys, first overall. They are telling you that Joe Burrow will not play in a 2021 season. Why do you want to draft a protection when you can get the best available player off of the board when your franchise quarterback will not be here next season? They can build the line next year. Draft the best available player as you can in that position, and build for the future. So I would not be surprised if the Bengals go 2-16 next year. What I guess it wouldn't be 2-16. It'd be 2-15, right? So yeah.
2-15.
Yeah, I'm still with the evens, odds. We'll get used to that. So Wyatt, who is the Bengals' worst draft pick this season?
Yeah, Bengals' worst draft pick, and I want to go ahead and put this out here. All respect to kickers when I say this, okay? I am not trying to down kickers when I say this, but Evan McPherson, kicker out of Florida, they got him in round 5, and good kicker, great kicker in college, and he's going to make a difference. Not going to lie, though, Fat Randy was pretty good for him last year. I don't know if did he not re-sign with him, I guess, or are they going to have 2 kickers on roster? I'm not sure, but Evan McPherson, I think, is a guy that you either could have gotten in the 7th round or maybe even at the end of the draft, so God, that's what
7th round is the end of the draft.
No, I mean like after the end of the draft, like whenever as an undrafted free agent. They could have got him as an undrafted free agent or even in the 7th round. So once again, but then again, at the same time, if you've got your guy, you've got your guy. So I do understand them going with a kicker if they needed that. As we see Tim Tebow chimes in here, where'd that come from? God. Like Chris Sims last night, Tebow's on here. We got Matt Nagy coming on sometimes. What's going on? But Evan McPherson, he's a good kicker, and I think he'll be a good kicker in the league. But I just think it was too early, and therefore I think that was their worst pick. I would have went with Jamar Chase here, but once again, I cannot deny, and I'll jump back to the same point. I cannot deny the talent that kid has. He is going to be a great wide receiver in the league, and they are going to have a dangerous wide receiver group. Joe Burrow is going to have a lot of weapons throwing that he's going to be throwing to.
Yeah, just not this season. Tori, who is their worst draft pick?
Well, I was going to say Evan just because it was a kicker, but I'm actually going to go with I'm going to go with Wyatt. Wyatt was their worst pick.
Oh God!
So their 7th round pick's name was Wyatt Hubert. And mostly I'm saying that just because he went to Kansas State. Because Kansas State sucks.
They were still mid-pack in the Big 12, and Big 12 is the best football conference out there.
Nah, I don't know about that.
That is false.
They are definitely third.
That is fake news, everybody. The rest of us here,
they're not even second. Buck. They might be fourth.
Opinion.
Well, let's just go ahead and fix that problem.
Well, the only thing I really got the knock in their game, it was really hard to find a really bad pick for the Bengals here. And the only thing that I got against Wyatt Hubert is that he's just inconsistent. The guy has a motor like no other, but he's just super inconsistent. But again, it's a 7th round pick. I'm nitpicking at this point. If he's inconsistent in a 7th round pick, how much are you really expecting him? They're probably expecting him to be a special teams demon, and that's about it.
Yeah. On the flip side, though, every time like a Kansas State player goes in that 6th, 7th pick, they seem to be on the team for a long time. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs and Byron Pringle. He was a 6th round pick, and he's probably going to be their number 2, if not number 3 receiver this year. So, I mean,
who?
Byron Pringle.
Buck, is there? I don't mean to jump off topic here. Is there a way to have 2 people call in at once?
Probably not. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Because we've got Joey Glotzback and Chaz Waters going at it in the comment section here. We got to have them call into the show and have them debate something. I mean that would be entertaining.
Yeah, you guys keep the chat.
Say, this ain't epic rap battles there, Wyatt.
This ain't epic rap.
So we gave them our best picks and our worst picks. So Tori, do these picks for the Cincinnati Bengals make them better going into 2021?
It's hard to get much worse, so I'm going to go yes. They do make them better. They make them a lot better. I like what they're doing. I like what they're putting together. You know, they're building from the inside out. They've got their skill position players all set. They've rebuilt that offensive line. The big question is going to be what can the defense do now?
So, Wyatt, does their draft picks make them better this year?
Yes. Yeah, I think like I said earlier, I think everybody in the league, or not in the league, excuse me, in the division, in the division got better because of their draft, and I think this is one of those teams for sure.
Yeah, I mean, being 4-11-1, you can't get much worse, right? But I don't think this draft makes them immediate better this year. I think in 2022, when Joe Burrow comes back fully healthy with a full season under his belt, then they'll be better. So this year's draft will make them better.
Ooh, Blake Johnson says Bengals playoff season inbound. When Joe Burrow plays week 1, I think he's calling you out, Buck, saying that you're wrong. Burrow he is going to be there week 1.
Joe Burrow will not play week 1. I promise you that. Suffering that ACL injury. Well, that was like
Blake,
week.
You got to stay later and call in, man.
That was week 11, right? He suffered that ACL injury.
Something like that. It was kind of later in the season.
So, I mean, I guess it would be about 9, 10 months, I guess. But I don't know. I mean,
these days now, you only 8 months.
Yeah, and it's crazy the progression that's happened even in the last couple of years. My freshman year, we had a couple of seniors playing on in the football team that tore ACLs, and they were out for a season and a half. Like, if you tore it your junior year, you pretty much weren't going to play your senior year.
Right.
So, but now, heck, there's a kid I'm friends with that goes to Silver Creek right now, Kyle, and he just tore his ACL and stuff in his knee. He tore all the ligaments in his knee, and he's supposed to be back for basketball season. Like, and he tore it like mid basketball season last year. He's not even going to miss a full year. So like whenever you factor in as well, it's Joe Burrow, and he's probably got better doctors than we do at Southern Indiana high schools. Whenever you factor all that in. Except for the Chargers doctor, that's the only one that he'll stab you in the back. No, not funny.
Why? Do you not know how to wink?
Yeah,
I do.
That was pretty good.
It looked like you're like.
All right, so what is the Bengals' overall draft grade?
Yeah, and once again, Jamar Chase is a great wide receiver. He's going to be awesome, but I just think that wasn't the pick. So if you go wrong with a top 5 pick, I really degrade you for that. But once again, B- is the worst grade that I'm going to give in this class for this division. So I will give my B- here because still, nonetheless, you got a bunch of playmakers. I just think it wasn't the right playmakers at certain spots, but still, like I said, you got a bunch of playmakers. You got Ossai going to them in the 3rd round, and Jamar Chase is going to be a great wide receiver. I can promise you that. Honestly, I give him a solid B-. As for talent grade, though, I give him a A-.
All right, Tori, what about you?
I gave him B+. Overall for the draft, there again, it's a team that's basically rebuilding from scratch. They started all over. They've got the franchise quarterback. They've got their skill set pieces now with Jamar Chase. They've rebuilt the offensive line between the draft and free agency. The big unknown for them is going to be how their defense plays. So I gave them a B+ because I really, really like a lot of their draft picks. They had a good mix in this draft of offensive and defensive players. So and they got good quality players that are going to be able to help them. Some day one, some maybe next year or so. But overall, they got players that are going to help.